What is Unreal Engine? Unreal Engine is a game development engine for real-time game developers, from enterprise applications to PC and mobile games as well as virtual and augmented reality applications. Among the most important features of the Unreal Engine. Unreal advantages. Creating high-tech 3D games, in addition to the possibility of merging 2D and 3D games. A completely new system for the implementation of the rendering process, which includes high performance in parallel execution with the rest of the tasks, and guarantees shadows, correct lighting, and transparency. The Unreal Editor is a powerful cinematic editing tool that controls the movement, cameras, and game sequences. Unreal's animation system supports the integration of several tools to form a complex animation, as it supports the pattern based on moving bones as well as the pattern based on the movements of flesh around the bones so that developers can create powerful and realistic animations. The user interface system in Unreal Engine supports moving and designing interfaces flexibly. It is also a system that relies on widgets, which are pre-configured operations to build the basic elements of interfaces such as buttons, scroll bars, checkboxes, and others. A montage system added to the game editor itself, where you can add and edit video clips and how they appear within the game, and control cameras and movements, as is the case in any other montage program. A VFX editor named Niagara is the best of the two that can be used to create VFX in Unreal. Unreal supports good audio, where sounds are as important to building a believable game as the sounds of the environment and the sounds of the instruments and tools used. Unreal has a tool control system that allows adding intelligence to it, including when to launch, when to get health or ammo, etc. It is a combination of a tool for storing key values in the component tree, and a tool for making decisions. An inquiry system whose mission is to help build an intelligent system for the game, as it relies on asking questions and conducting tests, then returning appropriate results to help find the closest force or knowing which enemy is the most threatening and others. Powerful physics engine, based on physics 3.3 for calculations, simulations, collisions and interactions with the environment. Lots of projects and options that allow building open worlds full of plants, animals, etc. are available for use when building the game. A system of building and carving terrain and natural elements such as mountains, plains, and natural craters. A recording system to replay what the player did or replay the goal from another angle, for example. Support multi-user gaming system. Developing games using Unreal. There are many official sources that provide simple, comprehensive and reliable information to start developing games using Unreal, and at the top of the list we find the official documentation of the program specifications, and the language used for programming games is UScript, which is short for Unreal Script and is very similar to the Java programming language, but it depends on the C++ language. Platforms supported by Unreal. Unreal supports the following platforms: PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, Mac, Windows, Linux, HTML5, iOS, Android, PlayStation VR, Oculus Rift, Samsung Gear VR, Liveport, Magic Leap, Daydream, and Savoir plus source text source vous devez indiquer le texte source pour obtenir des informations supplémentaires. Envoyer des commentaires. Punk/Rocks, the development and the quality of presenting cinematic films based on visual effects VFX in the gaming industry is considered a simulation of the development and technology, and in particular we have witnessed a lot of developments in the world of the gaming industry during the past decade, as games have become more realistic, whether in character designs or graphics quality, which in turn has become closer to cinematic films in terms of realism or is on its way to becoming so, but here we are not talking about technology that will be present in the near future, as this development has already become our focus since the moment of announcing the new generation game engine Unreal Engine 5, from this point on, it became like a beautiful dream that finally came true. A brief history of the Unreal Engine. The most important person who should be mentioned when talking about the history of the Unreal Engine is the genius Tim Sweeney, the founder of Epic Games, who developed this engine, where he began writing his code in 1995, and his first appearance was in 1998, and his main goal was to develop a shooting game from the first-person perspective FPS, which was called Unreal. And from this date this engine was used in the development of a group of 3D games and was adopted in other industries, most notably the cinema and television industry. With the increase of the ambitions of the 30-year-old young man to make a difference in the gaming industry, and with the arrival of some features of modern technology in his hands, he began researching and working on the next generation of the engine, which is Unreal Engine 2, until the second generation of the engine came to light in 2002. Where the game America's Army was released as a front for the engine, and as evidence of its ability to create competitive games for the games of major companies at the time, and the game was another shooting game, FPS, and as an extension of that development, Unreal Tournament was released from Epic Games, where it was the first game to use Xbox Live on the Xbox platform. Read also, why do new games take up so much space on the hard drive? 2 years have passed since the release of the second generation of the engine, and here we are in the middle of 2004 when the third generation of the engine is announced under the name Unreal Engine 3, and the first games that were released using Unreal Engine 3 were Gears of War for Xbox 360 and RoboBlitz for Windows, which was released on November 7, 2006. 8 years have passed, and nothing new is mentioned except for an interview with the vice president of Epic Games in 2005. In which he revealed that the new generation of the engine was under development. Years were full of many technological developments, but once it reached the right hand, miracles happened. This is what we saw in 2012, the new generation engine was unveiled in its full version under the name Unreal Engine 4, where a full video of the engine was shown at the Game Developers Conference 2012, where it was released on June 7, 2012. You may be interested in how to easily improve the graphics of games on your computer. One of the main planned features for UE4 was a real-time global illumination, and global here means illuminating the entire game or movie world in general, using voxel cone tracing, eliminating the properties of lighting in older versions, thus new lighting and new shadows properties. In the beginning, the program was a monthly subscription, as developers must pay the costs of the engine to get the full version of it, but this changed in March 2015, so it was released completely free of charge, not only the full engine, but also a wide range of libraries that help in designing games such as characters and some forms of 3D, audio, etc. All of this stemmed from Sweeney's belief in the rights of independent developers who would not be able to afford the cost of the engine nor create a new engine. But the company became demanding 5% of revenue for products that generate more than $3,000 per quarter. Unreal Engine 5 was unveiled for the first time on May 13, 2020, and it supports all current systems including next-generation consoles PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, S, as work on the engine began about 2 years before its announcement, and it was released in May 26, 2021 as an early access version, with a full launch expected in early 2022. Features coming with Unreal Engine 5. In the presence of game engines monopolized by major companies such as the exclusive Frostbite engine for EA, as well as the exclusive Snowdrop engine for Ubisoft, we find that the Unreal Engine shines among them as it competes with these engines strongly, as well as it is freely available to all developers, whether you are a pioneer, AAA or independent startup. With UE5 you'll be able to achieve true-to-life picture quality in your games. One of the highlights of the UE5 engine is nanite, which will enable you to create games with massive amounts of geometric detail. It's a tiny virtual geometry system that lets you import photorealistic film-quality artwork made up of millions of polygons, anything from ZBrush sculpts to scans. Scanning, positioning millions of times, all while maintaining the frame rate per second, without any noticeable loss of resolution. This feature intelligently streams and processes details you can only perceive, greatly eliminates the number of multiple elements and eliminates time-consuming work like the normal mapping, which allows you to focus on the creative side. There is also the Lumen feature, which is a fully dynamic lighting solution that allows you to create realistic dynamic scenes where indirect lighting during playback adapts to changes in direct lighting or geometry, for example, changing the angle of the sun with the time of day, or